Yeah, Jaidani.
Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara Satasri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. नामाचार्य श्रीला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर सेवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। समवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे।
हरि हरि बोल।
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hari Hari Bol. Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya
Shrimati
Bhaktivedanta
Mahavishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami
Namaste Saraswati Devi
Gauravani Prachari Nirvisesa
Hare Krishna. Thanks for the chat.
Thank you, Mother Vindavali. Okay. Hare Krishna. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, The Creation, Chapter 17, Punishment and Reward of Kali. We'll recite prayer first. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna. Okay, let's chant our verse today. Dharma vacha. Dharma vacha etadvah pandavayanam yuktam arthabhayam vachah esam gunah ganai krishno dautyadau bhagavan kritah. Dharma vacha etadvah pandavayanam yuktam arthabhayam vachah esam gunah ganai krishno dautyadau bhagavan kritah. Bhagavan uvacha dharma uvacha etadvah pandavayanam yuktam arthabhayam vachah esam guna ganai krishno dautyadau bhagavan kritah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dharma uvacha etadvah pandaveyanam yuktamartha bhayam vachah esham guna gane krishna dautyadau bhagavan kritah.
Dharma uvacha etadva pandaveyanam yuktam artha bhayam vacha yesham guna ganai krishno dautyadau bhagavan krita.
Dharma uvacha etad pandaveyanam yuktam artha bhayam vacha yesham guna ganai krishno dautyadau bhagavan krita.
Dharma uvacha etatva pandaveyanam yuktam arthabhayam vacha येषां गुणगणै कृष्णो दौत्यादौ भगवान् कृता. कृष्ण.
हरे कृष्ण धर्म उवाच एतद्वो पाण्डवेयानां युक्तमर्थभयं वचः येषां गुणगणाय कृष्ण दत्तादौ भगवान् कृता. हरे कृष्ण।
धर्म उवाच एतद्वा पाण्डवेयानां युक्तम् आर्ताभयं वच येषां गुणगणैः कृष्णो दौत्यादौ भगवान् कृता.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, let's go for word. Dharma uvacha, the personality of religion said, Etad, all these, Vaha, by you, Pandaveyanam, of those who are in the Pandava dynasty, Yuktam, just befitting, Artha, the sufferer, Abhayam, freedom from all fears, Vachaha, species, Esam, those, Gunaganahi, by the qualifications, Krishna, even Lord Krishna, Dautyadav, the duty of a messenger, etc. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Kritaha, performed. Translation and purport by Jivan Swami Ki Jai. Translation. The personality of religion said, these words just spoken by you befit a person of the Pandava dynasty. Captivated by the devotional qualities of the Pandavas, even Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, performed duties as a messenger. Purport. The assurances and challenges made by Maharaj Parikshit are never exaggerations of his real power. The Maharaj said that even the denizens of heaven could not escape his stringent government if they were violators of religious principles. He was not falsely proud, for a devotee of the Lord is equally as powerful as the Lord, or sometimes more powerful by his grace. And any promise made by a devotee, though it may be ordinarily very difficult to fulfill, is properly executed by the grace of the Lord. The Pandavas, by their unalloyed devotional service and full surrender unto the Lord, made it possible for the Lord to become a chariot driver or sometimes their later messenger. Such duties executed by the Lord for his devotee are always very pleasing to the Lord, because the Lord wants to render service to his unalloyed devotee, whose life has no other engagement than to serve the Lord with full love and devotion. Maharaj Parikshit, grandson of Arjun, the celebrated friendly servitor of the Lord, was a pure devotee of the Lord like his grandfather. And therefore, the Lord was always with him, even from the time when he was helplessly lying in the womb of his mother and was attacked by the blazing Brahmastra weapon of Aswathama. A devotee is always under the protection of the Lord, and therefore the assurance of protection by Maharaj Parikshit could never be without meaning. The personality of religion accepted this fact and thus thanked the king for his being true to his exalted position. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Mahavishnu Swamiti Namane. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadini Nirvisesa Sunyavati Prashadit Satari. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama. Hare Krishna. Before speaking on the verse, I would like to take permission from all the assembled devotees here, especially all of you who are senior to me. I'm just trying to repeat the words of the senior and from the lectures I heard from Srila Prabhupada. So I'd just like to take your blessings and permission. Thank you, Hare Krishna. I'll read the translation again. The personality of religion said, "These words just spoken by you befit a person of the Pandava dynasty. Captivated by the devotional qualities of the Pandavas, even Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, performed duties as a messenger." Krishna. So, just a quick recap that. So in chapter 15, we heard how Maharaj Parikshit was ruling the kingdom in brief in the initial verses of chapter 16. And in verse 4, Sutta Goswami mentions that once King Kali was disguised as a king and hurting cow and bull. And then King Parikshit was about to punish him. He starts this context. And then in verse 5, the sages headed by Saunaka Rishi requests Sutta Goswami to elaborate the event only if it is related to Lord Krishna. And then in purport Srila Prabhupada writes, they were simply interested in the topics of Krishna. And then further again, Sutta Goswami carries on with Parikshit Maharaj's travel till he reaches to the shore of Saraswati River, like the point where we are, like where Dharma personified as a white bull, and then Mother Earth personified as a cow, having conversation in a beautiful situation. We already had those classes, like bull was standing on only one leg and cow was distressed and tearful. And then Sutta Goswami presents, I mean in that whole chapter, he presents the conversation in detail, and we can see in the later, like at the end of the chapter, he writes that it was all explained in detail because it was related to the feelings of separation from the Lord. Mother Dharini was feeling separation from the Lord. And then we come to chapter 17, this chapter, punishment and reward of Kali, where Maharaj Parikshit was asking questions to all three of them, starting with Kali, who was in kingly dress. And then he addresses Mother Cow also, and he says not to be afraid. And then he asked and addresses bull, Dharma personified, repeatedly in several verses till, I'll say, till yesterday's verse. So today is the first time bull, Dharma personified, is going to speak in response to Maharaj Parikshit. So here the bull, from this verse, the bull is teaching us an important point from the way he was addressing Maharaj Parikshit. And the first point he is teaching like us, like how we can know the real nature of a person by the way and the words he speak. Right? And we already read in Bhagavad Gita that Arjuna asks question to Krishna in chapter 2, verse 54. That was one of our memorization verse Vishnugata Prabhu taught us in Thursday class, if anyone remembers. Okay, it was Sthita Pragya se ka vasa. So Arjuna Uvacha, he said, the verse is like Arjuna Uvacha, Sthita Pragya se ka vasa, Samadhistasya ke sava. Yeah. Sthita de kim prabhaseta, kim asita brajeta kim. And then in the translation, Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak?" So here bull is speaking. How does he speak and what is his language? How does he sit and how does he walk? So in the purport to that verse, I read that verse, and then in that, Srila Prabhupada has written that most important is how the man in Krishna consciousness speaks. For speech is the most important quality of any man. And I will read it. I don't have everything in my head. For speech is the most important quality of any man. Said the fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak. And certainly a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. So that is how Sthita Pragyas are identified by the words and the way they speak. that is Dharma personified, is like teaching us. And then here Dharma, what he says, Dharma Uvacha, he says these words just spoken by you befit a person of the Pandava dynasty. And Srila Prabhupada is captivated by the devotional qualities of the Pandavas. Even Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, performed duties as messenger. And about this, Lord Krishna doing all the services for Pandavas, we read in chapter 16, just the previous chapter, in chapter 16, verse 16, where the citizens of Maharaj Parikshit, when he was going around his, his country, the state, and then he was checking on everyone, and then the citizens were glorifying Pandavas. We read that verse too. Chapter 16, verse 16. And it is very nice verse. Let me pull up. Okay, I'll just read the translation of the verse. No, I can read the verse also. Saratya Parasadasi Sakya Dautya Vira. Anyway, okay, I'll just read the translation. Maharaj Parikshit heard that out of his causeless mercy, Lord Krishna, Vishnu, who is universally obeyed, rendered all kinds of service to the malleable sons of Pandu by accepting posts ranging from chariot driver to president to messenger, friend, night watchman, etc. According to the will of the Pandavas, obeying them like a servant and offering obeisances like one younger in years. When he heard this, Maharaj Parikshit became overwhelmed with devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord. So these words just spoken by you befit the person of the Pandava dynasty. And then the words means like here, the words means which words? He hasn't spoken any word here. He's saying the words spoken by you. Right? Which words?
The previous verse he talked about even heavenly inhabitants will be punished if they do something wrong.
Yes, thank you, Mother. Yeah. So previous verses, which starts from, I think it starts from verse 5, around verse 5 till yesterday's verse, I would say. So in Srila Prabhupada, in purport to today's verse, he writes, the assurances and challenges made by Maharaj Parikshit are never exaggerations of his real power. The Maharaj said that even the denizens of heaven could not escape his stringent government if they were violators of religious principles. He was not falsely proud, for a devotee of the Lord is equally as powerful as the Lord, or sometimes more powerful by his grace. And any promise made by a devotee, though it may be ordinarily very difficult to fulfill, is properly executed by the grace of the Lord. So if anyone remembers any pastimes where devotee made the promise and it was executed by the grace of the Lord, do you remember any pastimes?
He said he would not, Krishna said he wouldn't use any weapons, but in Kurukshetra battle, he...
That was his promise. He promised and he broke his promise. But this one is like devotee is promising, and by the grace of the Lord, it was not possible. It was almost impossible, but at last it was done by the grace of, it says by the grace of the Lord. Krishna Gada Prabhu.
Bhishmadev Mataji.
Sorry, Muktidati Mataji, you said?
Bhishmadev.
That's what Mother Savarada just said. About what, Bhishmadev?
Like you said, like he promised and he break his promise by the grace of Krishna.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah.
When Srila Prabhupada was in Bombay, he promised Sri Sri Radha Ras Bihari that he'll build a temple for them, even though it was very difficult.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Very practical. It's not like once upon a time story. It's like it just happened. Yeah, and there are many other pastimes in Mahabharata also, like when Arjuna promises to kill Jayadratha after he kills Abhimanyu, and then by the sunset. But the Kauravas army, they prepare such a puzzles, like they hide Jayadratha. It was practically impossible for Arjun to find him and kill by the sunset. But like it was like almost sunset, but he couldn't do it. And then Krishna, he does his magic, like he like makes like false sunset, and everyone comes out happy. Okay, now Arjun is going to kill himself, and then he makes sun to come out, and then Arjuna kills Jayadratha. So Arjuna, he promised, but it was almost impossible for him to kill him.
There was also the time in Dwaraka where there was a Brahmin whose son was disappearing or dying every time. They were one after the other. So Arjun said, "Okay, I'll find him. Otherwise, I'll enter fire." And so he had a trouble. He was about to enter fire, but Krishna said, "No, don't do anything rash." So he brought him all over the universe, and finally they found the sons of the Brahmin with Mahavishnu.
Yeah. And I was reading in Mahabharata, retold by Sudharmadas or someone in Vedavis. So this pastime just now, Krishna Prabhu said, thank you for that. And in that, Arjun, that Brahman was accusing Arjun, all those things. And in the not purport, in that it's written that then Arjuna travels to Samyamani, the kingdom of Yamaraj, cities of Indra, Agni, Nirti, Soma, Vayu, and Varuna. And it's also in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 89 chapter. And so around 862 verses, I guess, I don't know exactly. And there, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he writes in one of his commentaries saying that Arjuna trusted Lord Shiva implicitly as his guru, so he did not search out Lord Shiva's celestial abode. And then when the purport Srila Prabhupada, finally not having found the Brahmana son anywhere, Arjuna decided to enter the sacred fire, as Krishna Prabhu said, having failed to keep his promise. But just as he was about to do so, Lord Krishna stopped him and spoke the following words. And in the next verse, Lord Krishna takes him to Vaikuntha, like Mahavishnu's abode. And and when Arjuna was curious about like this act, like why, like I couldn't find, and then like, I mean, the fact means why Mahavishnu wanted to see him. Like he could come and take darshan of Krishna in Dwaraka, but why he wanted to Lord Krishna to come all the way to Vaikuntha? And to that answer, Lord Krishna says this verse in Harivamsa, Mat darsanartham te bala ritastena mahatmana viprartham yasyate Krishna mat samipam na chanyatha. And in the translation, it is like it was to see me. It was to see me that he, the Supreme Soul, stole the children. He believed only on a Brahmana's behalf will Krishna come to see me, not otherwise. And then in 10th canto, Srila Prabhupada, the disciple of Srila Prabhupada, they quote Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur to make it more complete. Because the verse, it says, he believed only on a Brahmana's behalf will Krishna come to see me, not otherwise. And then that 89th chapter, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti states that Lord Krishna further told Arjun, I did not go there, however, for the Brahmana's sake. I went there, my friend, just to save your life. If it had been for Brahmana's sake that I traveled to Vaikuntha, I would have done so after his first child was abducted. So here, what am I trying to focus on is like the line in the purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, so devotee of the Lord is equally as powerful as the Lord, or sometimes more powerful only by his grace. And any promise made by a devotee, though it may be ordinarily very difficult to fulfill, is properly executed by the grace of the Lord. And like Srila Prabhupada said, the main substance is the grace of the Lord. And again, another verse in chapter 15, verse 8, we can see where Arjuna is speaking. When Arjuna comes back from Dwaraka, Maharaj Yudhishthira was waiting for him, and then he comes and Arjuna starts speaking, recalling all those days with Krishna. And then Arjuna starts saying, like, only by his grace we could do this, we could do that. And so in verse 8, he says, like, one of the incident where Khandava forest incident, where Maya Danav, like, takes shelter of Arjun. Like, even Krishna was also there, but Krishna was about to kill him with his Sudarshan Chakra. And there was fire. There was another pastime where, thank you, Manu. So, yeah, here the purport. I was going to read the purport. Yeah. So this is a whole another pastime when Agni wants to eat something for his indigestion, kind of, and then he takes shelter of Arjun because he tried to eat Khandava forest as his prescription from the celestial doctors, but every time he tried, Indra was showering rain, so he couldn't eat it. So when he takes shelter Arjun, and then the forest. So Agni engulfs Khandava forest, and in that forest, Mayadana was also there. This verse, he said, like, how Mayadana was there. Or okay, if anyone wants to read, that's fine. It's not that long. Madhurindra, go ahead. Read aloud.
Thank you. The demon Maya Danava was an inhabitant of the forest Khandava, and when the Khandava forest was set on fire, he asked protection from Arjuna. Arjuna saved his life, and as a result of this, the demon felt obliged. He reciprocated by building a wonderful assembly house for the Pandavas, which attracted the extraordinary attention of all state princes. They felt the supernatural power of the Pandavas, and thus, without grudge, all of them submitted and paid tributes to the emperor. The demons possess wonderful and supernatural powers to create material wonders, but they are always disturbing elements of the society. The modern demons are the harmful material scientists who create some material wonders for disturbance in the society. For example, the creation of nuclear weapons has caused some panic in human society. Maya was also a materialist like that, and he knew the art of creating such wonderful things. And yet Lord Krishna wanted to kill him. When he was caused both by the fire and by the wheel of Lord Krishna, he took shelter of such a devotee as Arjuna, who saved him from the wrath of the fire of Lord Sri Krishna. Devotees are therefore more merciful than the Lord, and in devotional service, the mercy of a devotee is more valuable than the mercy of the Lord. Both the fire and the Lord caused from chasing the demon as soon as both of them saw that the demon was given shelter by such a such a devotee as Arjuna. This demon, feeling obliged to Arjuna, wanted to do him some service to show his gratefulness, but Arjuna declined to accept anything from him in exchange. Lord Sri Krishna, however, being pleased with Maya for his taking shelter of a devotee, asked him to render service unto King Yudhishthira by pleased with Maya for his king taking shelter of a devotee, asking him to render service unto King Yudhishthira by building a wonderful assembly house. The process is that by the grace of the devotee, the mercy of the Lord is obtained, and by the mercy of the Lord, a chance to serve the Lord's devotee is obtained. The club of Bhimasena was also a gift of Maya Danava.
Thank you, Mother Vrindavan. Yeah. The point that really struck to me is like what Srila Prabhupada writes, the process is that by the grace of the devotee, the mercy of the Lord is obtained. And by the mercy of the Lord, a chance to serve the Lord's devotee is obtained. Right, okay, I'll read the in purport to our verse today. Srila Prabhupada writes, the Pandavas, by their unalloyed devotional service and full surrender unto the Lord, made it possible for the Lord to become a chariot driver or sometimes their later messenger. Such duties executed by the Lord for his devotee are always very pleasing to the Lord, because the Lord wants to render service to his unalloyed devotee, whose life has no other engagement than to serve the Lord with full love and devotion. Maharaj Parikshit, grandson of Arjun, the celebrated friendly servitor of the Lord, was a pure devotee of the Lord, like his grandfather. And therefore, the Lord was always with him, even from the time when he was helplessly lying in the womb of his mother and was attacked by the blazing Brahmastra weapon of Aswathama. A devotee is always under the protection of the Lord, and therefore the assurance of protection by Maharaj Parikshit could never be without meaning. The personality of religion accepted this fact and thus thanked the king for his being true to his exalted position. So here in this purport, every word, Srila Prabhupada's every word has like so deep meaning. So in this line also, the last two lines, starting with a devotee is always under the protection. So Srila Prabhupada said the personality of religion accepted this fact and thus thanked the king for his being true to his exalted position. And so going to the truthfulness, here dharma is being thankful to the king for his being true, and which is the only quivering lake remaining in this age of Kali. That is also like we can see like every day in our practically in our day-to-day life, we see it is diminishing. Like it's hard to trust or believe anyone to what they say, like disregarding the politicians, right? And there was a nice morning walk clip I got from Srila Prabhupada, which was in Toronto about truthfulness. I really like that. So I have that clip. Maybe I'll share Srila Prabhupada's audio. It's not complete without hearing Srila Prabhupada. Okay, this one here.
Is simply concocting on the mind.
Is it audible?
It's too low. We can't hear. It's very slow, very low.
Okay.
Is simply concocting on the mind. And so far, if devotee is concerned, if you find some defect,
It's still very low. We can barely hear it.
Oh, okay. I made it super high.
is simply concocting on the mind.
It's still low?
Yeah, it's low. You can hear it, but it's low.
Oh.
is simply concocting on the mind. And so far, if devotee is concerned, if you find some defect in him, he's sadhu. Sadhu reva samantam. Apiche suduracharo bhajati imamarannava. Sadhu reva samantam. Now I find some defect in state. Sassad bhavati dharma. Kiprang bhavati dharma. These defects will be out very soon. Don't bother. But because he is devotee, he is sadhu.
So you mean to say, Prabhu, truthfulness and honesty will come after chanting.
Yeah.
So he will
But
automatically be
those who are not devotees, there is no truthfulness at all.
none.
Here he has begun truthfulness. But one who is not a devotee, he has no question of truthfulness. He is simply concocting in the mind. Manorathanas, and because he is on the mental platform, he will do all bad things.
That means devotee must try to be honest and truthfulness.
Devotee becomes automatically. If he sticks to the devotional principles, he will become good very soon.
Hare Krishna. Sorry for the, I tried to make it 100, but still it was low. The point is, Srila Prabhupada saying, once one becomes a devotee or sticks to the devotional principle, those qualities like truthfulness will automatically come. But whoever is not a devotee, he can't be truthful. That's what the main thing I was trying to say. And the other point here, like when who is saying, these words are spoken by you befit the person of the Pandava dynasty, captivated by the devotional qualities of the Pandavas, even Lord Krishna, the personality of God, if performed duties as a messenger. And like Krishna Prabhu said, like when it was practically impossible to build a temple in Juhu, like the Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada wanted a temple there for Radha Ras Bihari, and it happened by his grace. So the point I was thinking this point also, like when Srila Prabhupada says, when we chant 16 rounds and follow 4 regulatory principles, we'll go back to God in this very lifetime. So, and then when devotee promises, or when devotee says, Krishna will make it happen. So with this faith, we have to continue our devotional service, our sadhana, to make our life successful, and just trying to follow the words of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. I know you all, this verse, we can expand it so long. I mean, so many things, like there are so many pastimes we still didn't touch, so many things. But the main thing is following, for me, it's like following Srila Prabhupada. Just following him should be our ultimate goal. Hare Krishna. I would like to open for more inputs on this and comments, corrections. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it was such a wonderful class, Mataji. And I just need to know something, like if someone like doing every day like 16 round and don't have proper guru, then what happened? Like they can go also like back to Godhead.
The main thing is like we say, we just Srila Prabhupada is also continuously saying, like, we need guru.
Yeah, but they take took diksha from like outside Gurudev, like they don't even follow like 4 regulatives principles. But I don't know what.
I would like input from others, senior assembled here also, but I remember once Srila Prabhupada said the 4 regulatory principles we are following is not a ticket for back to Godhead. the four regulatory principle will make us human from animal, and then only the devotional service starts from there. When we follow four regulatory principles, that we become human, and then we'll start doing devotional service. It's not the ticket to back, not already. It's the starting point.
Yeah, my question was like, Mataji, like, even the Gurudev who's giving initiation, they are also not following the four regulatives.
So we should always remember there are like, what is that? We have four sampradayas. Sampradaya te bihina mantras te nisfala. If we are not following any sampradayas, whatever mantra we chant, that is useless. That's not nisfala. So it will not give any fruit. So it's just waste of time, I'll say. So I would like to have inputs from all the senior.
Okay,
Krishna
Mataji, thank you.
Kaivala Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Daikla. You want me to comment on this question?
Yes, Prabhu.
Like going to get to Godhead by following four regulatory principles and the chanting. But depends, chanting also, there are so many different kind of chanting, like one, we do 16, somehow the other we try to finish it, Other chanting will be little bit more serious, but not develop too much love. And third kind of chanting, which is, there is good name I was reading yesterday, Ajapa Japa. That means you chant all the time, 24 hours a day. Even in your sleep, you are chanting, doing work, you are chanting. And second type of japa is like when you finish 16 rounds, then while driving, like while cooking, while doing puja, you are just chanting that, whenever you have time. And third time chanting, ajapa japa is japa, so depends, what kind of japa you are doing. And it's not the 16 rounds, the main thing is not the quantity, it's the quality, actually, quality of japa. They are very important, because if we try to finish it mechanically, that will not give us that much benefit. And like remembering Krishna and everything. So we have to actually correct and improve our chanting. And that's a very important thing. Yeah, we just not like do, okay, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and some other finish to 16 round, we have to develop love for Krishna. That is the main aim, So we should not just worry about 16 rounds, but worry about what quality of japa we are doing, That's very important. And of course, following 16 rounds, as you said, will make us human being, on the platform of human beings. So we have, and also following those rules, also we have to strictly follow it. Sometimes, there are so many loopholes, in following those principles also. So we have to see that how sincerely we are following those. And the chanting, we have to take care, we have to do the quality japa, that's very important. Then we can definitely go to Krishna Lok, but it's not very easy, but one can try, and Krishna will definitely give us chance. And in case we are not perfect, and then Krishna will give us next birth in some good family, devotee family, and then we can go. So our path is really directed, that okay, where we are going, our goal is there. But sometime, there's some impurities may remain for some ones, then definitely we will get a chance. So ultimately we will go. It may take one birth, two birth, three birth, four birth, whatever it takes, but we should keep our goal, when Krishna will remind us all the time and send us purposefully to some great family with the devotion, who are following, then we can succeed. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. And Mukti Dati Mataji. And then we should also remember this, like when Srila Prabhupada stated this ISKCON movement, he didn't tell Hare Krishna. So Vishnu Prabhu, yes.
I didn't want to interrupt you. You can finish and I'll say afterwards.
Now, I was just saying, like Srila Prabhupada didn't put that four regulatory principle in the front. He said, just chant be happy, chant and dance and be happy kind of. So like when he started the movement, like he didn't put 4 regular principles in the forward. First he focused on chanting, and then slowly when his disciples were ready to listen to him, and then he started, okay, you should not eat meat, all those things. I mean, not slowly, I mean, it was side by side, but then he started all the 4 regular principles after chanting. So whenever if someone is chanting like sincerely, all those things will follow. Like when, like practically when I started, I was also not following all those regular principles. Even I was eating non-veg, I'll say frankly. So after, like when I started chanting, and then slowly it became like it came to my mind like I'm not doing good. Nobody told me, like when the devotees they invited me for the Bhakti Vriksha class also, they didn't even say like you have to leave this, you have to leave that. But slowly I was reading like Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, we started reading, and then it's like, oh, okay. Like they told me like whatever you eat, you offer. So I was putting onion and garlic, whatever. So I was offering it also. I didn't know. And then like, like it took some time. But if we have proper guidance and then we chant sincerely, it will follow. Hare Krishna. Yes, Vishnu Prabhu.
You said, well, Lord Chaitanya says, Nam Nama Kari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamata Smaranena Kala. There's so many names he's given, and by these holy names we can all perfection is given, and there's no hard and fast rules. So that means that in the beginning we don't have any restriction. Anybody can chant, even people who are not following the principles or having a no guru, or have a guru who's not following. All that's in the beginning. But to make further progress, they'll make progress by chanting. That's very good. But to make further progress, they'll have to accept the bona fide spiritual master and follow the 4 regulative principles. So it's good that they're chanting, but to make further progress, they have to go further and start doing those other things that are required. It's not just an option.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Okay, Muktidatri Mataji, I hope that helped to answer your question.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji, for the nice question.
Thank you.
Okay. Mother Sovaradi.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
If there are no more questions, then we can end the class. We'll meet again tomorrow, and the class will be from the temple room. That's it.
Thank you. Krishna. Vancha kalpataruvasya kripanam avanati vaishnava.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.